There are places in this world that do not appear on any maps, not because they are secret, but because they are forgotten. And then there are places that should be forgotten, but refuse to be. Geralt of Rivia had travelled to Byways, a small village with muddy roads, tiled roofs, and the kind of silence that only exists in towns where people have learned not to ask questions too loudly. Normally, Geralt would not have stopped here, but witches rarely travel because they want to. They travel because someone is afraid, and Byways was afraid of an inn. It stood just beyond the village fields, like a rotten tooth in the jaw of the countryside. A building that once held warmth, laughter and music, and now held only stories. They called it the Winking Widow. A fitting name, Geralt thought, because in his experience most widows stop winking once you dig deep enough. The villagers whispered that 3 different men had entered the inn on 3 different nights, and each one had returned with the same hollow look in their eyes. They spoke of a hallway that never ended, a door that was always open, and a voice that offered them a room for forever. So Geralt did what he always did. He accepted the coin, and he went to meet the darkness on its own ground. He arrived before sunset. Roach was restless, shifting her weight, snorting softly, like she already knew she would hate this part of the job. Geralt didn't blame her. The inn looked dead. But dead things, Geralt knew, often lied. He sat down outside in the grass, back against the stone, eyes half closed, waiting. Witches did not rush into danger. They let danger come to them. The last light of the day blended across the horizon, and then, from somewhere far behind the village, the bell struck midnight. A heavy sound, like a warning, like a funeral. Geralt rose slowly, pulled his cloak tighter around his shoulders, and stepped inside. The door groaned open, not like wood, like something old and unhappy. The air inside was warm, maybe too warm. In the main hall, the fireplace was burning, bright, strong, and alive. Geralt stopped. He hadn't seen anyone enter, hadn't heard footsteps, and yet the fire cracked as if someone had just fed it fresh logs. On the table nearby, food had been prepared. Bread, cheese, a steaming pot of stew, a meal waiting patiently for a guest who had not yet arrived. Geralt leaned closer. The stew smelled like stew, but beneath it was another scent, sweet, stale, like perfume left too long on skin that no longer breathes. Geralt did not touch the food. Witches ate many things for free in this world, but he had learned to be careful with hospitality that came without a price, especially in places that were supposed to be abandoned. He turned towards the stairs. Each step creaked beneath his boots, not like timber, more like bones. Upstairs, the corridor stretched out in darkness. Old paintings lined the walls, faces half faded, worn by time. But Geralt could still feel their eyes, watching, judging, as if the inn remembered every man who had ever laughed here and every man who had ever died. He continued down the hallway, slow, quiet, his hand drifting towards the sword on his back. At the far end, there was a door, slightly open, and behind it a soft golden light. Warm, steady, almost kind, like the sort of kindness that makes you suspicious. Geralt approached and then watched into the room. The room looked normal at first. A bed, neatly made, a small table with wine poured into a glass, a chair placed by the window, and in that chair sat a woman, beautiful in a way that felt too perfect. Her hair was dark and smooth as midnight water. Her eyes were glassy, reflecting the light like polished stone. She smiled at him. "You came," she said softly. "They always run." Geralt didn't speak immediately. He simply watched her, watched the stillness in her posture, the unnatural patience, standing alone in the room with something that wanted to be human. "You're not a ghost," Geralt said at last. The woman laughed quietly. "Oh, my dear," she whispered, "ghosts are just people who refuse to let go." The light changed. The warmth drained from the room. Her skin turned pale. Her smile stretched too wide, and the air filled with the same sweet, rotting perfume, stronger now, undeniable. Geralt's eyes narrowed. Of wrath. But not the kind that haunts ruins and battlefields. This one had chosen something worse. A home, an inn, a place that once welcomed travelers and now refused to let them leave. "I only wanted company," she said, stepping closer. Geralt drew his silver sword. Geralt cast Yrden. The purple trap spread across the floor, faint and shimmering. The rat stepped into it and screamed, not because it hurt, but because it forced her to exist in the real world again. Geralt struck, fast, precise, not heroic, not dramatic, just a clean ending. And then she fell. The light died with her. The golden warmth vanished, like a candle blown out by truth. Silence returned, real silence, the kind that feels earned. Geralt stood there for a moment, breathing slowly. Then he knelt, checking the room. Under the bed, he found something small. A child's wooden ring. Burnt into it was a single letter, W. Geralt stared at it. "The winking widow," he muttered. "At least you winked one last time." He slipped the ring into his pocket. Not for coin, not for proof, just because some things shouldn't remain in the dark. left the inn just before dawn, and behind him the building finally looked what it truly was: empty. By midday, Geralt rode towards a nearby village, one that at least had a decency to stay alive, a place called Ardeso. And there, in the warm inn filled with ordinary sounds, he met Yennefer. She sat at the table near the window, black clothing, perfect posture, a gaze sharp enough to wound kings. "You're late," she said. "I was delayed," Geralt replied. Yennefer's eyes narrowed slightly. "By what?" Geralt removed his gloves slowly. "An inn that wanted me as a guest." Yennefer smiled, faintly amused. "So, well, a normal evening for you." He didn't deny it. They ate. They drank. Yennefer ordered wine that cost more than the entire village of Byways could afford to breathe. Geralt didn't comment. He learned that some battles were simply not worth fighting.
You touch my hand like it might disappear. Said my name so slowly I almost stayed. Curtains breathing, moon on the kitchen floor. Coffee gone cold, your shadow in the doorway. Slow river in the dark, pulling me back to where you are. I keep falling, falling through the echo of you. Slow river, velvet black. I let go, then I crawl right back. I keep calling, calling to the ghost of you. Lipstick on your glass tilted, half a smile, ash on a plate you never cleaned away. I still hear your keys in the middle of the night. Every quiet click.
That night, in their room, the world finally felt quieter. Yennefer rested her head against his chest. "You smell like smoke," she said. "Well, I was near fire," Geralt answered. She inhaled again. "And you smell like perfume." Geralt exhaled slowly, eyes half closing. "Breath." Yennefer hummed softly. "Well, you attract the strangest women." Geralt looked down at her. "I've improved my taste." And for a few hours, Geralt allowed himself to forget the world. They slept close together as the night moved on outside their window. And for once, there was no screaming, no steel, no blood, only warmth, only peace, only peace. Geralt woke first. He always did, but it was still night. Something was wrong. Not the air, not the sound, but the feeling, a small disturbance, like a whisper at the edge of the world. And then he heard it, soft and distant, a single bell-like sound, a gentle ding. Geralt sat up. On the table, the wine still stood, but beside the bottle was something new, a small wooden ring, with the letter W burnt into it. Geralt stared. Slowly, he reached into his pocket. The ring he had taken from the abandoned inn was gone. Behind him, Yennefer opened one eye. "What is it?" she mumbled, voice half asleep. Geralt didn't answer immediately. He kept staring at the ring. Then he said quietly, "I think we have a guest." And somewhere downstairs, in the inn's main hall, The fireplace was burning, even though no one had lit it. The fire is burning again. If you want to remain a little longer, Elven Room awaits. Witcher ambience, the inns, roads and rooms we travel through, with the music from the story you just watched, and more. Don't knock, just enter. Links in the comments and descriptions.
Is it me? Is it you? Is it us? What was lost long ago? Memories of moments that we shared, of love that was lost, never forgotten.